In Solo Leveling, back in the Korean Hunter Association headquarters, Chairman Gunhee sits at his desk, noting the strange feeling as his heart refuses to stop shaking these days, thinking that his heart has been this way for a couple of years now. He can feel it has been getting worse recently, questioning if it's already his limit. Gunhee just smirks as he contemplates that the doctor said he could potentially lose his life within half a year if he keeps up with this work. Since then, 1 year, 2 years have passed, and he eventually got to where he is currently, noting that he can't do much since it seems to be his limit, and that he should rather be thankful that he held out for this long. However, his thoughts are cut off when his phone suddenly rings, which he answers to a woman worriedly asking if nothing happened to him today. Calling her dear, he leans back as he thinks of her as such a worrywart and says he was just about to go back. Suddenly, Gunhee is struck by an eerie feeling, making him cautious. Looking at the window, he questions what this is. As he questions how this could have happened, a mysterious figure appears in his peripheral vision, making Gunhee quickly look over, seeing the Frost Monarch sitting, watching him with a sinister grin. Chairman Gunhee looks at the Frost Monarch, wondering if he could have a proper conversation with him, noting that he couldn't sense the Frost Monarch's arrival, which means he's not someone he can take on alone, as the Frost Monarch states that this place has already been isolated from the outside world. Gunhee questions if he is dreaming, but suddenly he groans in pain as he is shot in the shoulder. He then looks over and sees that his shoulder was hit by ice magic. The Frost Monarch grins and points out that if this were a dream, he wouldn't be able to feel pain, making Gunhee realize that this isn't a dream. As sweat drips down his head, the chairman curiously asks again who he is, causing the monarch to express disappointment. The Frost Monarch says he had hoped Gunhee would recognize him without needing to ask, but it seems he's just a mere human after all. As the chairman is confused by the monarch's statement, the Frost Monarch begins to charge his power, telling Gunhee that he has no interest in playing around with weaklings and demands that the fragment of luminosity reveal itself, and mockingly guesses that the fragment of luminosity might be worried his medium would break if he acted, adding that it's bound to break sooner or later, no matter what he does. As he charges an attack, the Frost Monarch says that if the fragment is really worried about something like that, then this conversation is pointless. He then unleashes a powerful blast, forcing Gunhee to defend himself. Upon impact, the attack creates a massive icy explosion, engulfing the area in a chilling blast of frozen energy. The monarch grins as a pair of glowing eyes stare back at him from within the explosion. Without hesitation, the monarch fires another attack, hurling it through the lingering smoke straight toward Gunhee. But as it closes in, Gunhee effortlessly swipes it aside, redirecting the attack and causing it to shatter a nearby window. At that moment, the most brilliant fragment of luminosity takes control of Gunhee, recognizing that the monarch has isolated the office from the outside world and sealed it within a dimensional crack. The Frost Monarch responds with a smirk, revealing that he has long searched for the most brilliant fragment of luminosity. He notes with amusement that the fragment had been struggling to use his true power while confined within a broken medium. He then reveals that they have already found the locations of all 7 of his fragments and have already broken 2 of them. The Monarch of Frost tells Gunhee that all he wanted was to see the embarrassment on his prideful face before killing him. And now that he has seen it, he can destroy him without any regrets. Enraged by the monarch's words, the fragment of luminosity screams, urging the Frost Monarch to try it if he can. The monarch finds it foolish that the luminosity chooses to fight, comparing himself, who has completely conquered a human vessel, to someone merely borrowing one, doubting whether the luminosity could even land a single hit. Their auras clash and engulf the room, filling the space with overwhelming pressure as they face off. The Frost Monarch readies himself, crossing his arms before unleashing a powerful blast of magic toward the luminosity. Luminosity leans back, then forcefully headbutts the incoming attack, charging straight through it, and retaliates with a powerful punch aimed at the monarch, but the monarch swiftly dodges and counters, forming ice magic from his chest that launches forward like a spear. It catches the luminosity off guard, and he barely manages to evade it. As luminosity slips through the monarch's attack, he counters with a sharp left hook. The monarch quickly raises his hand and freezes luminosity's arm mid-strike, stopping the blow in its tracks. Channeling his energy, luminosity shatters the ice encasing his arm and forces his reach toward the Monarch. The two collide, blitzing across the room in a flurry of motion. Realizing he must end the battle while he can still move, luminosity launches a devastating blow. Seeing the incoming strike, the Monarch quickly forms an ice barrier. Luminosity's punch crashes into it with immense force, creating a powerful shockwave that sends the Monarch flying backward. The impact takes its toll as luminosity groans and drops to one knee, questioning if he has reached his limit. At that moment, the Monarch stands in front of him, unscathed, and remarks that it seems the luminosity has reached the limit of his medium. He grins as he comments on how pitiful the fragment of luminosity has become. After commenting on how pitiful the fragment of luminosity has become, the Frost Monarch suddenly vanishes, shocking Gunhee as he reappears in front of him and pierces an ice sword through his chest, causing him to cough up blood. The Frost Monarch grins as he questions how much time it will take for the fragment of luminosity to find a new medium. 1 year? 2 years? Unfortunately for the fragment, their forces have already gathered, and this world will be destroyed before he can return. He states that the fragment's mistake was trying to protect this world, questioning whether he truly believed he could defeat him without his guards, as he drives the ice blade deeper into Gunhee. However, Gunhee grins as he clenches the ice that pierced him, questioning the Frost Monarch if he truly believed he fought him for no reason. He tells the Frost Monarch that just as they hadn't predicted he would follow in their footsteps, there was something important he missed as well, causing the Monarch to narrow his eyes, questioning what he missed. At that moment, Gunhee charges his energy and looks directly at the Monarch before unleashing a powerful light blast. The Monarch barely manages to dodge it, and the blast crashes violently into the wall behind him. Looking in the direction of the blast, the Monarch is shocked. Realizing what just happened, while Gunhee, completely drained, weakens and begins to falter. He then looks at Gunhee and grins, remarking that he almost had him, questioning if that was the important thing he had been referring to. As he gasps for air, Gunhee confirms it. At that moment, the barrier the Monarch had created shatters from the impact of the attack, prompting the Monarch to question if that blast was used just to break it. He then tells Gunhee that he doubts anything would change, even if it worked. As Gunhee mutters now, a shadow ant suddenly dashes toward the crack in the barrier, slipping through and escaping into the outside world. Noticing a resident of the Abyss, the Monarch questions what a single soldier from the Abyss could possibly do against him, only to trail off mid-thought as he sees an afterimage. At that moment, the Monarch realizes something and quickly dashes toward the crack to follow the shadow ant. Leaping out of the building, he descends and slowly forms a scythe, aiming to cleave the ant in a single strike. But just as he slashes, shockwaves ripple through the air. He is stunned to see his attack halted mid-swing as Jinwoo appears, stopping the blade with a single hand. Jinwoo then grabs him by the neck and pulls him in, questioning who the Monarch is. An ice elf? As Jinwoo clenches the Monarch's neck, the Frost Monarch acknowledges the overwhelming number of soldiers he can feel within Jinwoo's shadows. He recognizes him as the Monarch of Shadows and questions why he never made contact with them, even after gathering such a significant number of troops. Remembering the ice elf who failed to be extracted from, Jinwoo contemplates that he had been forgetting about it. At that moment, the Frost Monarch confirms his suspicion, realizing he was right. Jinwoo must be the missing piece, the one he had been warned about. Charging his breath, the Frost Monarch begins to slowly freeze Jinwoo's arms. As the ice spreads, he unleashes the full force of his power, blasting a surge of ice magic that sends Jinwoo flying into the air. As Jinwoo's arms are caught by the ice, he questions to himself if the enemy is a magic user type. Without hesitation, he summons his dagger from within his frozen arms and forcefully shatters the ice restraining him. At that moment, the Monarch of Frost suggests they stop for the day, stating that he is not here to fight with their lives on the line, making Jinwoo questions the Monarch. Gesturing to the building behind him, the Monarch asks Jinwoo if he did not come there to save that human. Jinwoo then realizes that the ant is the one he had assigned to the chairman. At that moment, Jinwoo's eyes widen in disbelief as he looks up and sees the chairman, weakened and barely standing, with a gaping hole in his chest. Pointing an ice blade toward Gunhee's location, the Monarch smirks as he urges Jinwoo to make a choice, whether to continue the fight or rush to save the dying chairman. Without hesitation, the Monarch launches an ice spear toward the chairman, prompting Jinwoo to activate the ruler's authority in an attempt to stop it. However, the opponent's magic fiercely resists the power of the ruler, slowing but not halting its advance. Realizing this, Jinwoo glances at the Monarch with slight annoyance before leaping into the air. He hurls his dagger at the spear, but it narrowly misses. Just as the ice spear closes in on the chairman, Jinwoo blitzes into its path, blocking it with his dagger and redirecting the attack into the air with a powerful deflection. As Jinwoo looks back at the Monarch, he sees him opening a portal in an attempt to flee. Angered, Jinwoo summons his daggers and launches them toward the Monarch of Frost, unleashing Dagger Rush in a swift, relentless assault. Jinwoo's daggers hurl toward the Monarch of Frost as he activates his skill Dagger Rush. The Monarch manages to block several of the incoming daggers, but Kasaka's Venom Fang pierces him in the back. Enraged that a mere vessel managed to injure him, he glares at Jinwoo with contempt. Acknowledging Jinwoo's strength, he declares his retreat, stating that he, the Monarch of Frost, will withdraw for now and wait until the next time Jinwoo's shadows open again. As he steps into the portal, he leaves with one final remark, offering the nearly dead Gunhee as a parting gift for Jinwoo to add to his shadow army. At that moment, Jinwoo turns to Gunhee, realizing he couldn't sense anything while things escalated to this state because of the barrier, and curses in anger. Sitting beside the chairman, Jinwoo notes that this is not something he could heal using a healing potion. He then calls out Baru's name. Without hesitation, Baru dashed through the city at incredible speed. Upon arriving at the scene, Jinwoo urgently orders him to save the chairman at all costs. He silently watches as Baru tries to heal the chairman, but the effort proves ineffective. Seeing the situation, Jinwoo considers the possibility that the holy water of life might be able to save him. But the chairman grasps Jinwoo's hand, pleading him to stop. He expresses his gratitude, thankful that Jinwoo came for him. Jinwoo then tells him to wait a bit longer, promising to send him to a hospital immediately. But the chairman tells him it's no use, noting that nothing can be done after taking damage from those kinds of attacks. His voice trembles as he tells Jinwoo that he had the opportunity to come in contact with a supreme being, their plan, the remaining fight between them and humans, and the things they must do. As Jinwoo calls out to the chairman, Gunhee expresses his relief at Jinwoo's presence and shares his gratitude for Jinwoo's immense power and, with a faint breath, offers his heartfelt thanks. He says that the gates and dungeons were not meant for them. It was simply a means the supreme beings used to protect humanity. His voice breaks as he coughs, struggling to continue, telling Jinwoo that someday he will encounter a moment where he must choose which side to stand on. Gunhee, with what strength he has left, makes a final request, asking Jinwoo to remain on the side of the humans, admitting that he had always wanted to fight alongside young hunters like Jinwoo. However, his failing health makes him reflect that it was an impossible feat with a body like his. With a faint smile, he says he does not regret anything, because he can entrust the future to youngsters like Jinwoo. A rainy day in solo leveling, many hunters gathered at Gunhee's burial. Jinwoo turns to Jin-chul and asks if he is all right. Jin-chul apologizes, saying that he has not been himself lately. Unable to grasp the reality before him, Jin-chul asks if the monster that killed the chairman was truly impossible to defeat, even with Jinwoo's power. Jinwoo, his expression heavy, responds that by the time he had arrived, it had already happened. Embracing the rain as it falls around him, Jin-chul quietly says that it still does not feel real. Jin-chul cries as the rain pours down his face, his voice breaking with emotion as he recalls how, just yesterday, the chairman had told him he wanted to hear about his stay in the U.S., how he had urged him to hurry back to the country, and now he is gone. He turns to Jinwoo and, through his grief, thanks him, expressing his gratitude for doing everything he could to protect the chairman in his final moments. But Jinwoo quietly responds, "No," his voice filled with resolve. With unwavering determination, he swears upon his own life that he will kill the monster who killed the chairman. Hearing Jinwoo's vow, Jin-chul finds a sense of solace and says that he will accept Jinwoo's words of thanks then. Jinwoo then asks Jin-chul to call the reporters, his eyes burning with determination. After Chairman Go Gunhee's death, even in such a tight space, reporters crowded the press conference like moths to a flame. Jinwoo announces that a monster colony with very high intelligence is targeting world-class hunters. They are far stronger than many hunters out there, and they do not care about weapons or methods of murder. A reporter asks if, by monster colony, Jinwoo means that the monster who killed Chairman Go Gunhee could be one of them. Jinwoo explains that these monsters specialize in blocking open space by magic, then isolating their prey. To those who believe that they are bound to be the prey, Jinwoo recommends that they stay around comrades who are willing to protect them. Noting that the bastard called himself the Monarch of Frost, Jinwoo recalls the Monarch of the beginning and states that those who address themselves as monarchs are impossible to win against, even with the strongest hunters. He then announces that those who do not possess comrades like the ones he described should contact him through the Korean Hunters Association.